And now we're looking at the office tank, a 30-gallon hex that now has its own Madagascar lace plant, just found today over at Hidden Reef, and hoping it does as well as the one in the bow tank. And there you have some of the mollies, especially the big male, one of the bettas. Beautiful blue. He's doing a good show for us now as opposed to hiding. Anyway, got a nice family of brick red swordtails here. There's the male and the two females. So we got a nice balance, and they're all doing very well, as you can see. And it seems to be a nice blend of one male to two females, which I think is the recommended pairing that they suggest. The tank here is the one that those black mollies did so well in. And we went through several broods of them, or breedings of them. And what you see here is their babies. They finally passed away after a good year, which is a long-term success for me with black mollies. Never had that kind of success before, as much as I love them. And you can see here the contrast between most of them and this big female, for example. And there's a huge male that goes, there he is. And so the big male, and here's another one, seem to have taken on the traits of the huge male and female that started this, and yet a lot of them just stay in the small range. They don't get much bigger than what you're seeing here in a couple of them. So it's quite interesting that from the same parents we have such a variety of sizes. Now this is the tank that had the pleco that grew from a baby into what is now about 18 inches. And eventually I had to move him, and there's no way I could catch him in this tank with the features in there and the plants without upsetting everything, and I didn't want to do that. And so I used, I tried to outsmart him as opposed to outswim him, as I would say. And by putting a net down here in the front, toward the right there, blocking off one side, and in the depth of the net, a couple algae tabs. And then I put a net across the back where this Madagascar lace plant is now. And so it was almost like a tunnel. And the mollies went right in after the algae tabs, of course. And eventually, as I was very patient watching him, he came out and approached the net, wouldn't go in, and I didn't dare move, because as soon as I'd move, he'd disappear back behind everything. And so lo and behold, he eventually went into the net, and I was patient and waited, and he went all the way into the depth of the net. And while the net wasn't that terribly big compared to him, it was big enough that I could grab the two nets before he got a chance to move. And then he was thrashing about like you wouldn't believe, but I was able to get him out of here and move him into bigger quarters. And as I said, I thought I lost the big pleco in that bow tank, but lo and behold, once the second pleco was in there, he came out, and we see them quite often now on the front glass or whatever. So I'm hoping that they clean up the tank like they did here. And so yesterday, or no, this morning, I bought a baby pleco who's hidden here someplace, and hopefully he'll start cleaning that glass again. It's started to green up a little bit just in the week or so since I moved the big one out. And you'll notice on the fixture here, that brown fixture, that there's no algae on it at all. And that's because he kept it clean. And as you may have seen in the fixtures in the other room, all covered with a black algae, like this one used to be. The other thing you see here is our guppies. Nothing to brag about. They don't die off, but they don't thrive either. And so this tank was a breeding tank for a while, 6 months ago, and I haven't seen any babies in it till just recently, a couple black mollies. And with all the females in here, and that male, there's 2 males in here, keeping them fertilized, you'd think you'd see more, but that hasn't been the case so far. And sometimes when you do a water change, all of a sudden there'll be babies in there. And so I took out a red-tailed shark who was chasing people around here, and also that pleco, and moved out some of the black mollies. And you'll see some platies here, as well as the red swordtails. So this is meant to be a live bearer tank, although it's not totally, as you can see by that betta. But the Java fern always thrives. The other plants go through cycles and disappear. And every once in a while we'll have a flush growth of duckweed. And also it'll cover the whole top, and I move it into the corner tank, as I said. And the fish there will just eat it up. Now way down here, you may see, no, you're not going to see it. He's hiding behind that Madagascar lace plant. There's a young, there he is, a red wag platy, and there's one in the front too. They are babies that have grown up recently, and I don't know that their parents are still in here anymore. Oh, there's one parent there. So anyway, that's the office tank, and whenever I'm in here working, which is most of every day, they keep me company, and I often find myself turning to them to look at what's going on. And very pleased with all 3 tanks these days. They're all doing reasonably well. And like I say, I think I enjoy the plants as much as the fish. And so here we are, approaching 73 years of age next month, and have been in the tropical fish hobbyist for at least 65 years. And that's why you see and can search on Ray's Fish Room YouTubes, as well as Jim's Fish Room YouTubes. And we love sharing them, and he and I, after all these years, still go out fishing, as we say. Get in the car nowadays, not the canoe. And we go around to fish stores and see what we can find, and just enjoy ourselves. So thanks for stopping by and enjoying what we have here. That's a red guppy you're seeing there. And then you have a black-tailed guppy and a couple other variations. Females don't look so good these days. I don't know why. But it's not old age. They're just, something's not quite right. I had the water tested today of all 3 tanks, and everything looks great. I just put some new filtering pad of some type that's supposed to take everything out of the water and, as they say, polish the water, make it crystal clear. The other 2 tanks are crystal clear. This one's got a little bit of fogginess to it. They had some brine shrimp for lunch too, when I had that live brine shrimp. And so everybody's fat, full, and happy right now. And with that, we're going to sign off as you enjoy that Madagascar lace plant. Wish me luck.